think it's getting everyone to work together and getting the right people in the right jobs.
What impressed me was the fact they're actually turning out 4 sides on a Saturday, which is tremendous.
We've got a mixture of young guys, some older guys and some middle-aged guys that all bond very well, and we all want to win as well. And I think that shows on the pitch. So.
The club is successful because it's a family club, it's a village club, and we play on the most beautiful ground.
The cricket club has become part of the Leverstock Green village scene. The club sits on an idyllic village green and over the years has grown up to be very successful. The camaraderie and the friendliness is only matched by the high standard of cricket. It all began 100 years ago when the inaugural meeting, held on Friday 22nd of May 1908, marked the beginning of Leverstock Green Cricket Club. Thomas Ford was elected as chairman and Graham Webster honorary secretary. The Great War saw a long lull for cricket in the village. By 1920, better days had returned. A committee was formed, similar to 1908, even with some of the original members. Pancake Lane, close to the present-day football club, was the venue for the games to be played. Albert Steers, the club's fast bowler, went on to have a trial for Middlesex, and Walter Ayres was headmaster of Leverstock Green School. Amongst the other players of the day were Bill Gates, Stanley Dollymore, Arthur White and George Latchford. The club captain was Charlie Latchford. The traditional Leverstock Green logo showing the cherry tree emblem was first worn at this time, and it's still worn to this day.
I thought that it would be nice to dig the tie out and to wear it. And people keep commenting on, maybe it's about the only one in existence.
The ground was basically a farmer's field, and it took more than a little pre-match preparation.
Oh yes, that goes back a long way, but I do remember when he used to talk about Cherry Tree Lane and taking the lawnmower on his handlebars to cut the pitch on the morning of the match in those days. And of course when they'd done that, they had to clear the cows off, ready for the game. So they worked hard for their cricket in those days.
Having no clubhouse, the Leather Bottle pub near the pitch was always the meeting place where cricket business was discussed.
And when we started out here, we used the Leather Bottle for our committee meetings and every other meeting, after the game meetings, if you know what I mean. So the Leather Bottle was very prominent in our cricket club, especially in the early days when they used to hold their dinners there in the evenings, you see. And their annual dinner, not dance like we get nowadays, but certainly the annual dinner dance we have started over at the Leather Bottle by just, if you read the programme of that dinner, the first dinner, when they used to have one course and then a song, another course, and so on. So yeah, quite interesting.
The 1939 season saw a match planned with the prestigious club of Hebble Hempstead Town, the venue being Cherry Tree Lane. The date the match was arranged for was 3rd September 1939. This the day, of course, that the outbreak of war was declared.
I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
The news came over the wireless to the nation from Prime Minister Chamberlain. The match was cancelled. This was to be the end of the cricket club's love affair with Cherry Tree Lane. The cricket club did play their last game in 1939 against Rosedale Cheshunt. As the game progressed, a German fighter plane buzzed the ground, scattering spectators and players alike. The game, of course, had to be stopped. The scorebook showed game abandoned owing to enemy action, which had to be a first, and maybe a last. It was end of play for Leverstock Green Cricket Club for a long time. After the war, and on return to their original Cherry Tree Lane field, all had been ploughed to grow crops for the war effort and couldn't be used again for cricket. In 1948 came the news that Hemel Hempstead had been designated as a new town. More private residential housing was being built in Leverstock Green, but the idea was to retain the village aspect. The verge of land where the village boys had played some 4 decades ago was to be enlarged, reseeded and edged with trees to form an enlarged village green. Could a cricket ground be created here? Permission to play organised cricket on the green was finally given. Cecil and Ollie Parkins, landlord and landlady of the Leather Bottle, donated the handsome sum of £40, a considerable amount of money at the time, towards helping the club get back on its feet. Jim Daniels became team captain. Under Jim's custody, the wickets improved and soon the turfs were relaid to improve the wicket even more. During his playing career, he played a leading role in the formation of the new club in 1957 and in the 10 years of his captaincy. In 1957, the first games were played with teams from local villages. Match fees were 2 shillings and 6.
Well, we moved here in '56, and they were playing out on there. And I was saying to whoever it was, they don't even know how to play well field. I was brought up in South Africa. This bloke Peterson that plays for England, the same school as I went to. So somebody said, well, if you know so much about it, why don't you join?
During this time, players would arrive ready in their whites. Well, that was those who owned them.
I first joined in 1961 when Roy Curtis, who was then the vice-captain, brought my son home from a birthday party and invited me to play. I had already played for Hemel, actually, the previous season, but I joined here in '61 and Jim Daniels was then the captain, who lived very close, almost next door to the ground. And I stayed with the club for playing for about 6 or 7 years until I had a slip disc and had to give it up.
2 tents were purchased, which were used as pavilions for several years.
When I first started playing, we just had to have a change in tents, which we put up on the morning of the game. Yes, indeed. And we went for our teas in the village hall.
My very first game was in 1968. And then I started playing regular cricket here in '69. And I'm still playing.
In those days, we just played friendly matches, and there was no league cricket or competitive cricket. I mean, the friendly games were competitive, but they were friendly games. There was nothing on them.
A tent erecting rota was set up, but there were those who could be found escaping their turn, installed in the Leather Bottle instead. The increased population of Leverstock Green produced experienced players, and to play to a higher standard, the Green needed a permanent pavilion. It cost £2,000 to build it, and with grants and fundraising, the pavilion was complete in 1965. The Mayor of Hemel Hempstead, Councillor Robert Clark, opened it. It was not long before the need for a bar became necessary in the club.
When I suggested we got a bar, we got the negative vibes. How are you going to get a bar? And I said, well, my father was a publican. We got no money. I said, well, I can get you a bar for nothing. And they said, how are you going to do that? I said, we'll speak to Watney's. We spoke to the brewers, and the brewers said, well, how often are you going to open? We said 364 days a year. And they said, how are you going to do that? I said, we'll bring the Leather Bottle dart team across. In those days, you could drink 15 pints without getting breathalyzed.
I had no dartboard.
Eh? we got the dartboard for nothing from Watney's, and the rest is history now.
Some 6 years later, the bar was enlarged and opened up to social members. Over the years, it's been extended and improved and is now as popular as any pub in the village. Of course, along the way, the general pavilion facilities have developed as well.
I helped to extend the first pavilion. In those dressing rooms and all you probably haven't seen them, of course you haven't been, but they've got on the tiles in the showers, they've got cricket motifs. That was all done in my time here, yeah.
As any cricketer is aware, the club is only as strong as its young members. The Colts team were founded in 1966 by Dave Farthing, a Longdean schoolmaster. Amongst the stars produced were Chris Mitford, slow spin bowler, and Bernard Smith, opening bat. They later played for the Hearts minor county side. Barry Hescott was a gifted young player, arguably the best all-rounder the club had seen to this day.
The Colts team were formed in my playing day, and you mentioned Barry Hescott. He was the one that stood out amongst all the others. He had so much talent, and I remember taking the team over to St Albans and handing him the ball halfway through the match and saying, "Come on, Barry, let's see if you're as good as you say you are." And he took 5 wickets. I've never seen it like it, and he was a superb bowler. And of course he went on to become a cricketer which we'd never seen the like before. Chris Mitford and Bernie Smith, they of course went to university, and like 1 or 2 other Colts here, when they go to university they get other attractions, other interests, and so we lost them to the team, the town team. They joined Hemel, and Smithy went on to play for the county.
We've got a lot more juniors playing cricket, and again we've got people running that side of the club which quite frankly we were struggling with a few years ago. I think that our success is if we look at the team that's playing today, there's a load of lads out there that were in what were Colts. We have to be careful now, it's called juniors, change your name so as we can include females, of course. But there are lads out there that just a few years ago were in our Colts teams, and they're now playing against the MCC, and that shows how far we've come in terms of getting these young lads to come on.
Our plan to try and develop the young players through to the senior side of the future has been working really well over the past few years. We've now set up a 4th team over the last 4 years, and I've helped with that, being captain and vice captain. And it's very good to see how we can develop the young players from their sort of evening Colts games into helping them play in a longer match. Seeing how they develop over the long game, because I think it's wonderful.
The nucleus of any good cricket club is their ground. At Leverstock Green Cricket Club, the quality of the pitch and the surrounding area is perfect for the players to play the game. This is all due in no small way to the dedication and the devotion of the team who maintain the ground. Their attention to detail and loyalty has helped maintain a ground which is second to none. Each time they walk out to bat, the players can proudly stride onto a perfect pitch which invites them to play their best game. It was back in 1974 that there became the need for a regular groundsman. Charlie Latchford came out of retirement from the club to take on the task. His son remembers it well.
1974, he finished his playing days then, so he was showing an interest, and at the time we needed a groundsman, and so they persuaded father to come out of retirement simply to be our groundsman, and so he knew a little bit about it, and it went on from there. He did it for about 7 or 8 years.
In 1977, improvements were made to the clubhouse, and subsequently John Illett was successful in his applications for the club to be included in league membership.
When I was captain of this club, when it went into the Hearts League.
Since joining the league, the first team have twice won their divisions in 2003 and 2007.
That was the thing to do. We were playing lots of friendly matches, and to be in the league was quite something. But membership was very sort of select, if you don't mind me saying so. But John pulled out all the strings, and we eventually got into the league.
The 5th of August 1978 saw one of the big events in club history.
The other really strong abiding memory is when the club played against the Lord's Taverners, and we had the most wonderful day here, and there were ex-Test cricketers playing against Leverstock Green, and also many, many celebrities that came along, including the late and great Eric Morecambe.
Brian Colston masterminded the planning of this prestigious event. Large marquees were set up around the green with refreshment areas and extra bars. The club ground and pavilion resembled a county ground that day.
The Lord Taverners was a good day. Lots of celebrities up here: Willie Rushton, Dennis Compton, Edrich, John Snow, and Eric Morecambe, of course, who was president of the Lord Taverners. He worked tirelessly, walking around, taking money for various, I forget which his charity. Oh, it's Woodfield School. That's right. That was the designated charity on that day. And as I say, the weather wasn't very good to us. It rained, and so they actually changed the track because one was actually, well, it was unplayable. So they moved over a few yards and to finish the game. And it was finished, and we had a great party in the bar after. And Eric Morecambe was again there to the bitter end, you know, and as were all the others.
There's never been another event quite like it in the club's history. During this time, there were many well-known faces who first joined the club.
First involvement overall was in 1964 when I was 2, and my dad used to come up here to umpire. I played in the under-11, well, probably under-13 Colts then, which would have been 1975, 1976.
First memories are really as a kid, because I also lived down the road then, coming along here and scoring when the likes of Roy Eilert, John Eilert, Clive Rutt were playing, and literally I couldn't wait to earn 25p scoring for the first team. Yeah, and that's where I guess I really learned to love cricket, and this place has always been a great love for me.
I've been involved with the club now for 30 years. Yeah, I joined when I was 13. First game was in the third 11 under the captainship of a guy called Alan Morrison, and I've been here ever since.
I started 1975. I first played in the under-15s. Alan Merton was the manager at that point. The under-15s was recommended that I come to Leverstock Green from school by the schoolmaster there, who was also playing at the club, Dave Fisher, and then just progressed through various teams, played in the third 11 and the second 11, and then by about 1980 I was playing regularly in the first team until about 2 years ago, when really I've got a bit too old to be fielding in particular in the first team.
Of course, there are those who've been involved for a lot longer.
This is my 57th year of umpiring.
We got a phone call late March, quite a few years ago, about TVM wanting to come down and do the weather from Leverstock Green Cricket Club at the end of March. So, and the following day, they want to come down the following day, the 1st of April. So we're all thinking, this is a wind-up, it's a wind-up. So we'd all agreed we would get up here at 4:30 in the morning for the weather. And turned up, there's a huge, great big tower here tonight, and they had every half an hour, TVM broadcast the weather forecast from the cricket club. We had people bowling the nets at 5 o'clock in the morning, baking sandwiches.
A bit of ball tampering going on.
I'm sorry about that, Anthea. You weren't supposed to see that. I'm here at... Oh, the umpire's caught me now.
You're not allowed to be doing that, I'm afraid.
But I've seen it on the telly.
No, not in club cricket.
This is Mike Wood. He's actually the captain, but he's got his umpire's coat on just to stop any ball tampering like that.
Only the day before had seen brilliant sunshine for the club match, but this is an English village, and you can always rely on the weather to be unpredictable.
The big disappointment is just looking out there at the ground with the lakes of water. The planning that's gone into this day the last 6 months has been immense, and it's such a shame for those guys, just for the club in general really, so it is a shame, but it would be good to see old faces again.
You make what you can of it, and the rain is incidental. Exactly. We'll get through somehow anyway.
I haven't seen it as bad, like this for about 5 or 6 years. This is pretty grim, so pretty bad time. This is bad, yeah. Saturated.
The weather did nothing to deter members, both past and present, who crammed in the clubhouse for the huge spread laid out. There were many from years gone by who took the opportunity to catch up with old friends.
I know.
Guy? You will? I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Whether it's because of the weather is...
The day will still be good, but a game of cricket would have added to it, especially playing against a number of people who haven't played with for a long time.
I'm one of the old fogies that coming back to improve the averages of the existing players. Yeah.
Another not quite so old friend of the club was on hand, apparently to check the quality of the beer. Joking apart, what did he think of the event?
You know, on a day like today, that we can look at what the past has done and then look at the youngsters for the future and show what a village can do when it pulls together. It's brilliant.
Oh, we must be mad in England, only in England. Probably 2 hours and a half.
They're under instructions, 20 overs in an hour. Yeah.
Unexpectedly having to work this afternoon then?
Yes, given the fact it's been dry for a little while. It's
Good.
rather wet underfoot, but hopefully we'll be able to get 20 over match in each.
We started off with the idea that we wanted to achieve 2 things, I guess, with Centenary. One was to ensure that everybody in the club played a part in our centenary, and as a reminder to the club and the members just how long the club had been going. And secondly was to raise the profile of the club, and centenary was an obvious opportunity to do that.
I suppose major memory is Cricket Week, I suppose.
The biggest event in the year of the club is Cricket Week. This has been going since 1977. Though it's not strictly speaking part of Cricket Week, Ashes Day takes place on the Sunday. Throughout the day, teams of all ages take on their counterparts from St Albans, and yes, they do play to win their very own Ashes in an urn. It's a big day for the club and the teams take it pretty seriously. Here we see the under-13 team, starting off with a team photo and some pep talk from their manager.
We're batting guys. Let's pick up these singles. The 2 of you, don't get run out and do what you normally do, okay?
Oh, baby! My mum! Mum, I need 20 out of your plus.
Then it's on to the very own 2020 match. To make it fair for all, the player retires when they reach 30 runs, hopefully giving the whole team a chance to bat. The event is a family day. The barbecue runs all day, the bar is open. There are many matches for all ages, some more serious than others. Here we see the fathers and sons game. To round off the day, the adults get to play a match. To the untrained eye, it all looked a bit easy for the Leverstock Green opening pair. And spectators, beware. President's Day on Monday is the official start of the week. The match has been played for many years and for over 20 years has marked the beginning of Cricket Week. The teams are made up of members from the club, as the Leverstock Green Club 11 take on the President's team, which includes family members. Ex-club players and some well-known annual regulars also join the
I
team.
think playing with some of the players like Percy Bulsara as well, who turned up again for our cricket week, 73, still playing cricket. Bowled with him for years and years, and to see him on a yearly basis still is fantastic.
Great game of cricket actually.
Cricket was the winner.
Cricket was the winner. Leverstock Green scored 239 for 6 wickets declared, and the President's 11 scored 222 for 7. So an honourable draw for both teams.
Make no excuse for what I'm going to say, and I know I've said this a lot over about the last 10 or 12 years, but today's game, every year now for that period of time, we've had the memorial game for Clive Rutt.
It was during this match in 1995 that one of the most respected members, Clive Rutt, collapsed and sadly died while playing. Current members can still remember the effect that Clive had on them.
Well, I've had lots of fond memories of playing up here. Sort of playing with old friends that aren't with us anymore. Sort of certainly remember the days playing cricket with Clive Rutt, who sort of played with him for about 10 or 12 years when I came back, which I really enjoyed. Unfortunately, say no longer with us now.
You took Clive on at your peril if you argued with him about cricketing history or laws, or it was a religion, I guess, from Clive's point of view. And because he was a teacher, he was able to impart a lot of his enthusiasm and his knowledge to others. He was a very well-respected player, a charming man.
Well, I went to Longdean School where Clive was a teacher and played a lot of cricket with Clive Rutt. A fabulous man, a superb person off the field and on the field. Always respected everybody he was playing against.
Since Clive's passing, this match has acted as a memorial. Members of his family always attend and a shield is presented in Clive's memory to the winning captain. Tuesday saw the return of the Momentum 11 taking on the Leverstock Green Cricket Club. Momentum, run by Mike Parks, also sponsors the day's cricket, as he freely admits it's a case of who's winning at the time as to whether he boasts of Leverstock Green Cricket Club or Momentum membership. The quality of cricket was good and there were some big hitters. On Wednesday in Centenary Year, the club was very proud to welcome a team from the MCC. This was the first time in the club's history. Members were out early to make sure everything was just right and to welcome the visitors. The MCC play about 600 matches a year, so it was fantastic that they'd found time in their busy schedule to visit the club. The visitors opened and quickly started to build a healthy score. But they didn't always have it their own way. As you'd expect, the visitors scored well, but declared with a figure thought achievable by the home team. Along the way there were some good strikes, but overall the pace of the bowling took its toll. Now it was time for the first team captain. A few settling in strokes and he'd shortly be whacking it to the boundary. Well, that was a start, then disaster. A firm shot down the wicket and out caught by the bowler. Or was it? Let's see that in slow motion. And just how far away was the umpire? Oh well, as one of the other players who scored well that afternoon said, that's cricket. Afterwards, there was the presentation of prizes. What did the MCC think of the club?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen the ground. It's a delightful setting. It has a lovely sort of village green feel to it, and the standard of cricket is high.
I played for St Margaret's-Bury, and I remember playing here in the mid-90s, playing in the league. It's very nice to come back, and the hospitality has been fantastic.
This was presented to me as president of the club just about 45 minutes ago, and it's not left my side actually since then, but it will be in the place of honour in the club later on today. And it's not just me, there are so many members of the club and people that have played for the club over the years.
Thursday saw Leverstock Green take on a couple of 2020 matches. Potter's Bar has a long-standing history with the club, and once they'd played, they stayed on to watch the second match and then to make use of the refreshment facilities. Rumour has it they've been known to stay in the clubhouse overnight after a heavy session. Then there was the game against a team made up of Hearts League members, known as the Saracens 11. Mike Woods, better known as Woody, is another long-standing member of the club. As well as a huge involvement at club level, he also helps to administer the Hearts Saracens League. In 2006, he was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Oscar by the England and Wales Cricket Board.
Yes, it was put forward as a Leagues and Boards award. So I was put forward by the Hertfordshire Cricket League. So I'm Results and Fixture Secretary there. And it was something that I was put forward to, nominated there. Had a great day out at Lord's where there was a big dinner and a celebration for it. Up on the stage, 4 of us, and a bit of X Factory, I suppose, with the and the winner is, and a bit of a pause. It was nice to be awarded it.
After a full week's play with sun all week, the final day of cricket week was reached. This year, the club was pleased to welcome former England captain Mike Gatting and Mark Illett, the Essex all-rounder and England player, to captain each of the Leverstock Green teams. The teams were mixed to make them as equal as possible. As the day went on, the sun came out and it became a scorcher. Maybe summer had really arrived this time. After the presentations of the bottles of the specially brewed centenary beer to the captains and guest players, it was time to play.
Did we bring a ball, Michael?
The Gatting team won the toss and chose to bat first. There were some pretty good strikes and not many byes, so the bowling was pretty accurate as well.
Very impressed. I mean, I have briefly passed by the club on a number of occasions, but haven't actually been into the club. But it looks a lovely family club, very well organised, and a lot of people who seem to enjoy themselves here.
The Friday of Cricket Week was excellent. It was a fantastic day with Mike Gatting and Mark Illett captaining both sides. We had obviously Leverstock Green players that played in both of those sides, and they thoroughly enjoyed their day. We had a fantastic afternoon of cricket and a fantastic evening as well.
Now the moment arrived. The big man was going into bat. Surely the team would pile on some runs. It was not to be. Out for one.
It's cool.
Was there disappointment in the crowd?
Watching Mike Gatting, has this been a special day for you?
A very special day, yes. It didn't score many runs, but...
No,
I mean, we thought we might have been selected, because we could have scored more than that.
And what did a young LGCC team think of the day?
It's very good, very good. Shame we didn't get any runs. One and out, mid on, not very good, but very busy as you can see. There's as many people I think I've ever seen up here. I mean, don't really know too many people here, so yeah, good. I think we're raking in the money, to be honest.
One of Mike's team was the Watford footballer, Alec Chamberlain, delayed arriving because of detention for the whole Watford team, or some such excuse. He's a long-standing friendship with Leverstock Green, so as well as a practice warm-up, there was time to catch up with the gossip.
Could be tricky and you get up and running, you know, we've done it before.
despite some surprise dismissals, the team went on to score a respectable number of runs during their innings. So now it was time for tea. Afterwards, the Illit 11 set off to try and win. Once again, there were some fine strikes, but in the end, they couldn't match the Gatting team's total.
It's been a great day, isn't it? From what I hear, it's been a great week as well. I mean, the weather's been fantastic. We've made money over at the bar, all looking great with the new shirts and polo shirts on. And no, it's been great fun. It's been good to be part of it, and it's nice to be back on the green.
What about a newish recruit to the club?
I mean, it's easily going forward. The way it's set up and everything is fantastic. One's top of the league, two's doing, consolidating in a good standard, good division. Three's top of the league, and the fours are doing well. So, it's going forward. The club's going forward. You can see by everyone turning up here. It's a good place to be.
And so ended Cricket Week for another year. Once again, the barbecue was working overtime and the bar not far behind. Time for a rest. That was unless you were called to play in one of the league teams the next day. As the club grew, there was the need for matches to be played at other cricket pitches. Apart from the Leverstock Green Cricket Club, the players also hold fixtures at Parmeters School, which is some 8 miles away. This pitch has become a friendly meeting place where matches are played regularly. Leverstock Green Cricket Club has enjoyed a fantastic centenary season. The first team won promotion this season to Division 1 of the Hearts Saracens League. In fact, their second consecutive promotion, so well done to them. The Sunday First were also division winners in the Chess Valley League, and the third team have also maintained their record of being promoted 2 years running too. But like any club, not all the teams can make it to the top. The second team have had some excellent matches, and the fourth team grow in strength.
We have demonstrated, I think, this year that we have a huge and highly successful junior section, and that's your next generation. Those are the guys who've got to pick up the club and move it forward with the help of the senior players, of course, for the next 10, 15, 20 years. But behind that, I guess, too, we've got to look at the way the club wants to develop. We have some ambitions, like most clubs.
Overall, for the centenary year, the players are more than satisfied with their season, although it would have been good to win the coveted Gazette Cup. They were finalists this year. There is, of course, always next season. Everyone enjoys the genuine and wonderful team spirit which exudes in the club and is encouraged to meet the challenge of the next season. Dave Tyson has been first team captain in the club's successful centenary year. What were his highlights?
I guess that's it could come down to 2 league championships, 2007 and 2008. 2007 Division 3 champions and 2008 Division 2 champions. We've never done that before, back-to-back championships, and it is, well, because I would say it's a difficult thing to do. But we had a fantastic 2 years. I've had a fantastic probably 15 years overall has been skipper on and off within those years, with a good group of players. And it's not just me, it's people like Kevin Segre, who's vice captain, that help and assist me, Brad Klosterman, the senior players within the club. They all contribute to make a team effort. And obviously I take the accolades, which I'm quite happy to do, but it was fantastic, yeah, for the club, and I guess it's probably on that premise that the award came my way. So.
It is easy to predict the club has a wonderful future built on the successes of the last few years. We now look to encouraging along the next generation.
What we've now got is the enthusiasm being carried forward into what we need to do, which is develop the club further, because the first team are now being promoted to Division 1, which is a new standard. We need to develop the club facilities to match that. So there's lots to do, and we're all going forward.
Leverstock Green Cricket Club can look back proudly on the last 100-year history with pride and happiness. There were those who had the dream, and some members have fond memories of those who made that dream happen. The future is exciting for the club, with strong teams, dedicated players and many young, keen cricketers. Leverstock Green Cricket Club can only go forward to continue their great success story.
This club is going to go from strength to strength. I really hope so. Well, you can just see the way the youngsters and the older ones mix.
Oh, it's such a friendly lot. They're lovely. Yeah, well run. Very well run.
I think it's brilliant for Leverstock Green Club, and while a cricket club is successful, the village will be successful, and that's the important thing.
And I think the club will become more popular, and will be very, very strong into the future generations.
They've always had a very good square here. I mean, it's a lovely ground with trees all around. You couldn't wish for anything better. And I think I can see it going on for another 100 years.
Getting to the fines here. I'm finding you now.